fueron de 43. Ah, órale. Ah, bueno. Ah, pues.
Welcome to the Green Villain podcast. I'm Mayhem, and over here is Duke.
I am Duke. Salutation, allies.
He's just
Excuse the rapport spores. They will fade away after a long rest.
long rest.
Don't worry, I will explain this voice and the rapport spores.
Today we're going into we're bringing it back around to D&D, but more focusing on an aspect of D&D that we enjoy.
We got into it at the very end of our DM video.
Yeah.
We got into the very end of Homebrew. What is our favorite? What is it we want to see? And today we're talking about our genuine 3 favorites from each of us.
We're going straight into it.
Yes, we are. I'll start us off with my personal favorite of all time, one that is just so fun to play, known as The Mock.
The Mock.
It was made by Christopher Zito. What I know him from was Team 4 Stars TFS at the Table. It was their D&D series. It was very, very fun, and around the second part of that series, he decided to start including a whole bunch of homebrew, one of which he actually made himself, known as the Mock, which are playable mimics.
And that's just an amazing idea to me.
For context, a mimic is a creature capable of disguising itself as any item or any person.
Yeah, they literally can look like anything that they want.
The book version just disguises itself as an item. The Mock abuses that and turns into any person or anything.
It's like a ditto on drugs.
It actually has 2 subraces, which is the major and the minor. The minor is able to turn into simple items, like a sword. The major is able to turn into, people.
Oh, it's like they can full on go into that. Okay.
Exactly.
But I do like this because it's like because it's like the shape-shifting race and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And that's always a fun time.
It's the changeling, but it's more roleplay heavy. You can see certain details of okay, I see my friend might be my friend, but I also noticed that he has a massive scar where he usually didn't. And there might be teeth under that scar.
It might just open up and bite my head off.
For me, I will say my goal with this is I want to play a Mock that is a Hexblade Warlock. Because that seems really cool to me. The idea of basically the story would be that they had this sword that was cursed and they placed it inside of a mimic thinking that was normal chest. I ate the person that put it in there. And then eating the sword gave me life.
Oh.
That's the idea for my player idea.
It gave you sentience.
Yes. Now let me read off one of my favorite abilities on the sheet.
Oh no.
The tongue ability.
Oh.
It is a simple ability, but a fun one for the fact that your character is immediately given a grappling attack and bite attack tied to it. So you can grapple him, and then you have advantage to bite him.
Oh. That does not sound fun.
Oh, it's very fun.
It's fun for you, but not for anybody involved in it.
Imagine not knowing that your friend is a mimic, and then suddenly they bite somebody.
Just loud.
Anyway, my friend, shall we go on to yours?
Yeah, so mine that I am also going off of Chris Zito, one that he had. It's the Naga race. Basically, humanoid snake people.
Yes.
They more focus on snake rather than people.
Yeah.
There are some variations in that.
Basically Snake Man, but only arms.
Yeah. In which I did create a character with that. His name was Urge, and he was a rogue. And he was large. He was big boy. Yeah, there was a certain criteria for his height and weight. And
turns out the max is 20 feet, and Chris Zito has actually already said how, that is one of the mistakes he made of, they're medium creatures, and medium creatures can be as small as 5 feet and as large as 8 feet. But because of the fact that their main body is 8 feet tall, they still count. But the length of
the tail, yeah. And I love that. And I just made it as long as possible.
Yeah.
And it was so fun to just be like this guy that's just like, yes, I'm the super sneaky guy, but you could literally see him anywhere, as like the only way you can is if he's hiding behind like a 30-foot long building.
I consider it the same rules as like the Muto from Godzilla.
As long as you can't see him,
yeah,
you
the
can't hear
Muto from
him.
Godzilla of like you can't hear them or see them until they pop up right next to you and are like, I'm now here and also giant.
Yeah, now I'm taking
now I'm
steps.
super loud.
Yeah,
yeah.
Now I'm making random roaring noises.
Literally, Urge was a Muto.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yep.
And like I made sure that he like with a nickname like Urge, I absolutely made it so that he has to be materialistic. Like if somebody just gave him enough money, he would do anything.
What was your favorite moment playing as Urge?
The fact that I rolled the perfect D20 that changed the entire game.
Yeah, you rolled a nat 20 that gave you a story opportunity.
Yeah, a story opportunity. And it was basically just like Why
are you like this? I don't know. Maybe I have a familial connection. Okay, got it. In other words, the general of this one army is your missing father.
Yeah, like they were just like, who are you? And like getting into this army base and army encampment.
General Sithas.
Yeah, I just basically was like, yeah, I'm the missing general that you guys have been looking for, and they're just like, you are.
Well, I mean, you look just like him. It's almost as if you are him, or even have a familial connection.
I just like how that completely went over my head.
Yep.
That I thought I was just being like, aha, I got lucky on that roll. And now we're going back to Duke with his second
back
one.
to me. Now, if you're wondering what that voice was earlier, and what the hell a rapport spore is...
What the hell was he talking about?
One of my favorite races, my favorite homebrew races I've ever seen played was known as the Micronid. The Micronid are literally sentient fungus people. Think any mushroom and then give it arms and legs. They're my favorite.
The perfect description, which I'm going to need to help you find this. It's a picture of a Dark Souls enemy that is literally, like, every time you mention him, I think of this enemy.
Well, what I think of when I say this is TFS at the table again.
Again.
Because of the fact that the person that played it was Grant Smith.
Oh, yes, Grant.
Of course it was Grant. And so what Grant played was this incredible character that was a Micronid warden, which, don't worry, we'll get to classes in another episode.
Yeah.
He was a Micronid warden, and his whole thing was trying to bring balance to the world. And so he first comes up, and he comes to this town, and everybody is fucking terrified of him. Because every time he comes up to somebody, what'll happen is that spores will shoot out. People think that he's trying to, like, infect them or, like, xenomorph them. Everybody thinks, like, it's a facehugger type of thing.
Yeah.
And so they try to run away as a voice is just shouting in their heads.
Hello!
And then finally, he meets the main group with Lanny and Brian Olvera. And he meets them, and he goes, one sec. Just putting up a finger of, like, give me 1 sec. And just, and just shoots out spores in 30 feet. And she goes, salutations, friends! You are the only people to ever walk up to me! Everyone else has run away in fear!
Everyone is terrified of me. I do not understand why. Stop screaming, friends!
Somebody walks up, hello, friend! Ah! Runs away. And yeah, no, it's just the most fun story opportunity because the thing is, Micronid don't have mouth.
Micronid
the only way to communicate is my favorite ability called the rapport spore, which basically shoots out spores in a 30-foot radius.
Oh God.
And it makes it so that any person in that radius can hear you in their mind.
It should have been 6 feet.
6 feet! Yep. And the whole thing about it is that it lasts until the next day.
Oh.
Or until the person forcibly removes it.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's just such a fun idea. And one of the ideas I had was imagining, what if I made a, like, Circle of the Moon druid with him and imagined all these different transformations with him based on, like, okay, I turned into a brown bear, but it's also just a fungus creature. Like, it's basically just a mushroom shaped like a bear.
Oh my god, that sounds awesome.
Right?
And terrifying.
Right?
I can imagine a very good horror movie that's based on that.
Yeah. It's just, this is such a cool idea for a race, and I want to play it someday.
Yeah.
I want someone to play it, because it's so much fun. So, your next one, my friend?
So, this is actually going into the territory of, I want to make races. Like, after seeing this, I want to make some. So, the first one I'll be bringing up, we actually do have, like, a character, like a race sheet on. They're called the Porcos.
Yes. If you keep an eye on Twitter, which, please, go check out the Twitter. I have no followers.
We're just trying to make a living.
At Green Villains on Twitter. Please check it out. On our Twitter, I recently posted the fact, well, recently as in last month, posted the fact that I released a new race on DM's Guild.
Yeah, and yes, for full context, Mayhem is a Porcos, yes.
Yes, he is.
That is why I had to make sure that this one was made so far. Like, made so thoroughly. I had to make sure I did Mayhem justice.
The Porcos is such a fun one that I was able to make, because he gave the idea of, like, I want to play a, basically, pig people.
Like, how...
And
how
I helped him out with creating that.
Like, how has it been so long since we've had, like, a pig race and something like that? It's a genius!
Well, honestly, the only reason we don't have stuff like that is because most people flavor it. They flavor basically means they'll grab what is available currently, and they'll just turn it into that. Like, with the Porcos, honestly, if you didn't want to use Homebrew, you could just grab an orc and just say, I'm a part of a, like, subspecies of orc that is pig-like.
Okay.
You do something like that.
Yeah,
it's called flavor.
Yeah,
it's called flavor.
Flavor.
Tiger, tabaxi, stuff like that. Just, you could do anything.
Like lizard folk, any kind of lizard.
Chihuahua goblin.
Oh, God.
It works. It fucking works.
But yeah, basically their backstory and all that kind of stuff is... I really enjoyed the orcs quote, like just quotations around that in that time I got reincarnated as a slime, where the pig people
yeah, the pig orcs,
because like I like the idea of a society that thrives on being selfish. And that's basically like their backstories. Like they are like just fueled by being
hunger.
Yeah, but just hunger and the selfishness to thrive on themselves.
I will give some context as their creator.
as the numbers person.
I actually gave it 4 different subraces,
okay.
which I am very happy about. And the 4 subraces are basically the farm pig, the wild boar, a tapir, and a hippopotamus. Yes.
Just out of context, there was this hippo person that we had in a playthrough one time, and I just loved him. He was like one of those classic I'm your enemy at first,
his name
but then
was Reginald, and he was one of those like big game hunters.
Big game hunters like Safari, like tally ho, gentlemen.
The thing is, he was a big game hunter in a fantasy world.
In a fantasy world, yeah. So it's literally everybody, like everything.
Think Craven the Hunter, but more British.
That's
what he was.
And hippo.
Yeah, more British and hippo.
Tally ho!
Anyway, the last one for me, because he still has one more, which is a surprise for you.
Yeah.
But the last one for me is actually made by a very famous YouTuber by the name of Gaijin Goomba.
Another one!
It is known as the Tanuki.
Oh no!
I finally get to bring it up.
I'm sorry for everybody who
This video was a ploy. The whole time all I wanted to do was talk about the Tanuki race.
If you don't know about the Tanuki race, like, consider yourself lucky, and I'm sorry that you will now be one of the people that know who are there.
So Gaijin Goomba, he is famous for the fact that he knows all this different stuff about Japan, and he shares all this different information to everybody around the world. It's very, very cool what he does. And so, let me tell you about the Tanukis. The Tanukis are the most famous Japanese yokai of all time.
Like, imagine, like for those that know Nintendo properties, like, think Tom Nook and just Tanuki, like the leaf power-up from Mario.
Tom Nook is a Tanuki.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the whole point, yeah.
That's the best way to, like, show, like, that's how they look, yeah.
I mean, the whole thing with the money bags having like the little.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
No, I'm saying the money bags with the little leaf on them. The whole thing about it was actually, the Tanuki would give you a bunch of money, and then it would turn into leaves.
Oh,
that's the reasoning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but anyway,
I was thinking.
Let me get into my favorite ability.
The other thing that I was thinking that he was going to be talking about.
So, my favorite ability is known as the Kinbukuro. For those unaware, the male Tanuki can turn their jingle bells.
Why did you just say it like that?
Into the D&D equivalent of a Swiss Army sack.
Oh.
This ability is too fun to not use, and I feel would bring a lot of laughter at any table.
Oh.
It's just... From the description alone of what I just said, of course, I'll go into just the minor details of basically, like, you can turn it to stone.
Oh!
You can turn it into a 5x5 mat.
Oh, hello, everybody. Come take a seat with me.
You sure you don't want to sleep on my blanket?
Oh my god, that's absolutely the voice they have now, is the King, Alan Tudyk's King Candy.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
That's actually what Gaijin Goomba went for.
Oh my god.
But, the whole thing with this is also the fact that it also counts as, in D&D, a spell component.
Oh.
It's
magical, I swear.
That's the thing. It's literally a magic thing of it is every spell component except for money.
Because it actually leaves.
And the thing I want to play with it, honestly, is imagine how funny this would be. Of an armorer artificer. The whole idea with armorer artificers is basically that they create, like, armors. Imagine Iron Man.
Oh, he just makes a bunch of stuff for himself.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's literally Iron Man. Imagine an Iron Man tiny Tanuki person. Like, I'll go for your weakness. Oh, why did I break my foot? I made it stone.
Oh my god.
I just adore this race for how ridiculous it is. And it's like, it can fit into your D&D world as long as you're having fun.
Yeah, and like, it absolutely seems like you could do like he's literally a one-of-a-kind forest creature that your party just came across, and now he's just part of the team.
Yeah. I absolutely adore it. And now then, my dear friend, it is time for you to talk about the one that you asked me to make oh so long ago.
The Drakeblood.
Yes. In fact, I want to have you read the blurb of text that appears for anybody who comes into this race, which I'll tell you where it is afterwards.
Yeah, which I gotta make sure I do this as epically as possible, so I'm gonna get really close to the not really close to the mic. The most common of dragons in our world are the most chromatic and metallic. The most rare are the Elder Guardians, dragons born of the primordial elements of the realms. These beings are a mix of elemental titans and dragons. The Drakeblood are the descendants and the guardians of these colossal titans, sworn to the clans of Frost, Magma, Earth, and Storm. How's that?
Yes. So, for context, it is 4 sub-races based on, basically, there are 4 clans of a dragon-like race.
Yeah, dragon race. Dragon people race.
In all honesty, they're a mix of dragons and elementals.
Yes.
And when I say elementals, I mean think Hercules, like the movie Hercules elementals.
Yeah, like those titans, how they were just completely made up of the elements.
Yeah. And I have the story for each one of them of basically there's the Frost clan, which was born from the comets that gave us water.
I did like that detail, yeah.
There's the Magma clan, which is born of basically the primordial earth. There was the Storm clan, which was basically all the storms that arose from a newly formed earth.
Yes.
And then finally, there was the Earth clan, which was just when everything settled. And life began to spring.
And the best way to describe them as they are the broken off lesser being versions of those primordial drakes.
Yeah.
And they, like, eventually, like, there was one really good detail. Like, there is a difference between the male and female. They have, like, they're dragon people. They have they have regular human, like, limbs, but they also have wings. Problem is, only the females can fly because they have more dexterity than the men. The men are basically like walking giants.
The best way to put it is think of a male lion's mane.
Yes. Like, it's only for, like, intimidation.
That's entirely intimidation of, imagine those wings just stretching out, and you just, this magma creature staring you down. That'd be terrifying.
Yeah.
And I love it.
And, like, for the magma ones were, like, the first ones that I thought of, because, like, I just like the idea of, like, this colossal titan in the core of the earth, and then these little, like, parasitic, like, versions of it just erupt from the volcanoes from the ground.
Yeah, you gave the idea of basically just a magma race of, like, these creatures, and I brought up the idea of, like, okay, well, since there's one of these giant titans,
there must be more.
What if there are more? Yeah.
And that's another thing too, is, like, each clan has their own respected, like, society.
Yeah. So let me shill this a little bit, because I'll say this. I made this race, and it is up on DM's Guild today!
Wow!
Yes, it is finally published today. I will advertise it more on Twitter as well. But this is a 4 sub-race document with 10 different racial features you can add to your character in the future. Once you reach, like, level 15, level 10, even before that, there are all these different features you can add to yourself with the incredible abilities that I came up with that are some of my favorite abilities I've ever made, called the Blessing of the Earth, the Blessing of the Flame, the Blessing of the Frost, and the Blessing of the Storm, which make it so that basically you have this ultimate ability that just grabs from the core of your being, explodes out, but then you're exhausted after that. It kills so many people, but you're also have a level of exhaustion.
Yeah. It's like, this race, I just, like, it's badass.
It is so cool, and I'm so happy about it. This is basically, do you want to be a protagonist?
Yeah. This is the protagonist race.
This is the protagonist race. Or this is the Sasuke race, whichever one you choose.
The one that's actually technically more powerful than the main character.
If you go for the Sasuke race, you have to have your entire clan die.
Oh, no! You can't do this to me!
Naruto already did it, don't worry.
So yeah, feel free to go check that out and on DM's Guild, and hey, who knows what crazy adventures you'll get into using that race.
Now, for the part of the video which I should add to any video, but I will add to this video because I hate doing it, but I had to do it anyway.
Sometimes.
Shilling us.
Yeah, sometimes we just gotta do it, yeah.
So please, do check us out on Twitter, @GreenVillains. Maybe there's a 52 in that. It'll pop up now. You'll see a link to it.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff will show up at the end.
You'll see it down in the description below. You'll see all the links to our different social medias. Please do share us around the web, because that's the best way for us to grow.
And we do enjoy talking with we do want to interact with all of you. Like, we do want to keep this discussion going, what things to add, anything like that.
If you can think of something that would be just the coolest thing to add to D&D, comment it down below, and we'll see the comment.
We will, yeah.
I will see the comment. But, also, for anybody interested in playing D&D with the races that we described, I actually have listed below the links to each of these different races I've mentioned, including our own. Yeah. And if you just want to look up our own, go to DM's Guild and just type in the search bar, Green Villains, and there we are.
There it is.
There is the Porcos, and there is the Drakeblood.
Yes.
Thank you so much for listening. Remember to, as YouTubers say, hit that bell and smack that like button. I hate that phrase anyway.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening, watching, all that good stuff, and we hope that you'll see us next time.
Take care.
Goodbye. Green Villains out.